Greetings and welcome. I am Joffrey, and today I'm here with Darkest Light and Vector Maximus, and we are discussing uh, landless nations and anti-colonialism, which is the term I've got for it. Uh, Last time they said we were going to be discussing how was should be
Are
live.
we going? It's not live for me.
Oh, there we go. I think it is now. Oh, BS. But anyway, there we are. Yes.
Start
Greetings,
over.
greetings and welcome. I am Joffrey, and today I'm joined by Darkest Light and Vector Maximus, and we are discussing landless nations and anti-colonialism, which is the term I'm using for it. Apparently, we're going to be learning about those little countries they teased us with at the end of the last Tinto talk. They've been hinting at such a thing for a long time now, and I'm very curious. Uh, all three of us were, and now I'm the only one who has yet to know how they work, I suppose. Uh, but and also we'll learn about how people can fight back against colonizers when they're trying to colonize your land. So I have also been forced. I have to read the whole thing before I start speculating and ranting. So there's going to be minimal yap for now. To get started, we're here to tell you interesting information about our super top secret game with the code name Project Caesar. Previously, in grand strategy games, playable entities, or countries as we usually refer to them, always required you to own land, and their existence was based upon owning land. You annexed and eliminated a country by taking all their land, and now, during the 4 years since we created the first iterations of this system, things have changed. And you will soon have landless playable characters in CK3. Anyway, in Project Caesar, we currently have 4 categories of playable countries. 4. And yes, I am early. I have to make up for being 2 minutes late to the one earlier today. Oof. Country
So
type.
he's 40 minutes early.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so we have country type. Tooltip makes it 100 may make it 100% clear. Country type. The country type defines the condition of existence of a country and has enormous gameplay implications. Some countries are defined by the locations they own and cannot exist without them, while others are defined by their armies, their buildings, or their pops. Their buildings, their pops, their armies. Hmm. So we have settled countries, army-based country, extraterritorial country, society of pops.
Oh, 1 second, Joffrey. No, we're in the correct place.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we didn't move. That's right.
Yeah. A random could have just joined us, popped in, ruined the whole stream.
Well, that would have been so terrible.
Would have been awful.
Settled, army-based, extraterritorial, society of pops. Okay. We have been talking about making a navy-based country type, and it would be fairly easy to do, but we haven't really found a country that fits that category. Oh, please do anyway. Please let that be a thing in the code anyway. Settled countries. These are countries that are based on owning locations. These function the same as you would expect a country to work in a grand strategy game. These countries own land, they build buildings, have cores, raise armies, etc. Army-based countries. This type of country is very similar to the location-based countries with a few differences. While they can still do everything that a location-based country does, they also have one strong advantage and a strong disadvantage. The advantage is the fact that as long as they have an army, then the country will still continue to exist, which we use to simulate redacted, amongst other things. Oh God.
Mhm.
You
They
really are
mentioned that they use it. They mentioned that they use it for
Keep
hordes.
reading, keep reading, keep reading.
You really have me caught with this, Vector. You put that rule down. Fuck me. Okay, so continuing to read. The disadvantage, depending on your point of view, is that if the country does not have an army at all, it can shatter into multiple pieces. Many of the steppe hordes at the start of the game are army-based countries, ABCs.
It's an
Fits.
acronym. I
Yeah,
approve.
I approve of this acronym, the ABCs. I'm 100% going to be using that when I'm referring to the game. They are ABCs, which fits nicely into our other mechanics. Yes, I do like the acronym ABCs for army-based countries. Extraterritorial countries. These are countries that are based around the buildings they own. So, okay, buildings. Yep, can't speculate. Read. They can't own land directly. Cannot own land. Okay, so I think I know where this is going, but they can have subjects that own land. Their buildings often have pomps directly linked to the building, and those pomps are also tied to the country. One risk with them is that they need to keep positive relationships with the places they have buildings in, or they may not be able to survive. Various banks, holy orders, and Hanseatic League holdings in 1337. ah.
Yes, they are building-based countries.
Constantinople. This one down there. Valencia. That's a holy order for sure. Lots of these are probably holy orders. Yeah. Hanseatic League. Everywhere. The Hansa is everywhere. Whew. Oh boy. Banks and shit. Oh. There are many types of playable entities that we simulate with these systems. You can play them.
Mm-hmm.
Banking you can play them.
Yes.
Correct.
I don't even think we were speculating on the banks being playable.
I mean, I was.
At the most I was going for was the East India Company kind of thing. But oh.
Read on, you'll get to trade companies.
VOC, here we come. Here we come. Banking countries. There are a few of these countries in Europe at the start of the game, with Peruzzi and Bardi. Later on, you get the Fugers and more. They have main offices in certain cities and have the possibility to build more branches around the world. Other countries can request loans from them, and they also have the diplomatic ability to take over any estate loan that a country has and force that country to pay interest to them instead. Ooh, very interesting. They also have far lower interest rates than on their estate loans, so they can easily become rich from other countries' debt. They still have estates.
Yeah, you take a loan from your estates so that you can then give a loan to a country.
So the Medici, which don't exist at Game Start, but yeah, okay. They take loans from people. They still have estates
You
because
buy
they
the
own
debt.
land. Sort of.
Buying debt is a
Yeah.
thing that lots of people, even in modern day, do.
Mm-hmm.
The banking countries just have an advantage because they have a much lower rate of interest, so it's more efficient for them to do it.
Banking traditions. Excuse me? Advance only available to bank. Huh? You still have tech?
Yeah, of course.
They're a country.
Okay, that's a good ground rule, Vector. That was a very very good play. Well played.
Yeah, because otherwise, like I said, we would be here probably for 5 hours.
And it'd be glorious.
And now we may still be, but you'll be able to make a timely exit after everything's been read through. Trade companies. During the Age of Reformation, and these are all these are all under the banking countries. No,
These are the building-based countries.
building based. Where'd they say it? Extra territory.
Yeah. They don't own land, but they can build buildings in other people's land.
And their statehood is tied to those buildings. So long as those buildings survive, the country survives. But if all the buildings get nationalized, essentially, they go poof. That's game over.
Yeah. Income from minting, total loan capacity. Yeah. Very interesting stuff. And I will have more to say on that after I've read on. During the Age of Reformation, you can set up trade companies in overseas places. Mm-hmm. Which will be a good subject to get trade going to benefit their overlord. We'll go into more details on these in later Tinto talks. Hanseatic League. This is represented by a building-based country which has a few subjects that are normal land-owning countries. This is a playable country from the start, and one that is really fun if you want to focus on a purely trading game. Yep. Okay, moving on. Yep. Hanseatic merchant capacity in Bruges. Yes. Because they did show us some of this previously, but trade monopolies. Merchant Federation. Gold from Praha market to Bruges. Commercial Advisory Council. I don't know what that is, but and leader of the Hanseatic League. No. Maybe the trade monopoly's estate privilege is less than good for us. We also have holy orders as a building-based type of country, and while I can't go into the details about it at this point, at the start of the game, the daimyos of Japan are using the building-based country mechanic. It's a good thing I don't have hair anymore. Holy shit.
Going bald again.
Ooh. I didn't have.
Tearing out all the hair.
If I didn't have hair, yeah, it would be falling out in clumps right now. Oof. Okay. This is one of the biggest. It's all so much. Okay. Society of Pops. I am so ready. My body is ready. This is one of the most.
No, you're not.
This is one of the most challenging types of countries in the game, as most of the mechanics are not available to them. They own no land, but instead are entirely based on the pops associated with them. As they own no land, they do not interact with RGOs, nor can they build most buildings. So, how do they work? I couldn't see a way for this to work. I need to know.
Yeah.
Almost all of them start without advances or for taxation, codifying laws, or constructing cities, which makes sense, yeah. A lot of the world has different societies of pops, where larger groups of people live, but are on the fringe of more organized and advanced states. In the New World, there are a mixture of settled countries and societies of pops. These types of countries can migrate their pops from one province to another over time, and they can also force the allegiance of pops to change to them through warfare with another society. Oh. The borders between different societies and even settled countries are extremely fluid, and they can be in the same location as either of them. Yes. 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 Oh, this makes everything just work. Oh.
Yeah, just read a little bit more.
Okay. Okay. The borders between yeah. They can raise levies directly from their pops, and their armies can live off the land anywhere, gathering some small amount of foods from any type of land. Their armies can always force any pop of their culture and religion to swear allegiance to their society. You can't force other people to join. Amongst the ways they can stop from being colonized is forcing colonizers to the peace table. All right, yeah, makes sense. Forcing them to cancel their colonial charters. A settled country can, in a war, force a society of pops to abandon pops that they own, and if they no longer own any pops, that society will no longer be an existing country. A society of pops can attempt to settle if they achieve certain advances after which they will take control over all locations where they have pops and are the dominant culture and religion, and then become a settled country. Currently, though, the gameplay experience is not where we want it, and unless that is improved by beta, they are very likely to be AI only at release. Oof.
Yeah, that's the kicker.
Oh.
They
But,
will be playable eventually, but
but at release,
They might not
pretty
be at
likely
release.
to be
Yeah.
AI only.
Currently, the gameplay experience is not where we want it, and unless that is improved by the beta, they're very likely to be AI. So, yeah. Whew.
and then there's like one paragraph and you're done.
Oh. Here the Kevin people have settled. And to clarify, society of people and army-based countries have ways to become settled countries through mechanics, but there are no other normal ways of changing country types, except through special events. Stay tuned, as next week we'll go into detail about buildings that you can build outside of your own country. So,
Yeah, so
for building-based
about the
countries,
stream.
that's why.
You made it to the end. You are now allowed to start going wild.
So about the stream title, there was literally like one sentence about anti-colonialism.
Yeah,
One whole sentence.
alright, let's change the stream title to, do I need to even? I don't know, what would be a
Nah.
more appropriate title?
Yeah, so now with this information, have you decided who you want to play for the first time? For your first game?
I mean, obviously, at
Is
the
it
Hanseatic League, true. Hansa, easy first country. First playthrough, easy.
easy?
Well, it's simultaneously added a lot of ideas and taken away some, because I may not be able to play day
The
one
Blackfoot.
the Blackfoot. Huh. They're not exactly they're not exactly clarifying what they would want the gameplay experience to be for countries that are just pops. So,
It should be simplistic and with the goal of becoming settled.
yes.
It shouldn't be a thing that you maintain through the whole game.
Maybe it's possible to mod them to be playable, but
No, he talks about that later.
he's in dev
I mean, he said
responses.
it was basically, I highly doubt it, were his words. When it comes to someone modding compatibility for it.
Don't like the sound of that.
So, and also, we won't be able to add new types, but we can sort of jank the existing types to do what we want.
Yeah. Yeah. That does cover basically everything I could have imagined.
other than the boat one. They don't go into much detail about it, but how I imagine the army-based one is you can own land, but your sort of country itself is tied into one of the armies that you walk around on the map.
Yeah.
Because they mentioned that for step hordes. So I imagine that in terms of a step horde, that army is your horde. And if that dies, your land is essentially just empty.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
But the Hansa can never own land itself.
Never.
Only
Yeah.
subjects.
They,
And
they
it can never, except via event, it can never become a country that owns land.
except by event. Yeah.
Mhm.
So theoretically, there's a way that if you play the Hansa and you yeah, do stuff, you could eventually become a proper country. But
Doubt it. Doubt it. It'd have to be unique flavor, which means it'd be easy for us as modders to do
yeah.
away. But for vanilla, no, I doubt it.
Hmm. Well, I'm glad to know that they're at least they're at least planning to make these societies of pops eventually playable. But it's a little disconcerting that they describe it as not being in the place they want it yet, and that yeah, if it's not ready by the beta, then
Worst case scenario, it's first or second DLC material.
true, and well, when it comes to our mod, uh, there are far worse things than certain factions that will exist because of the population crisis and all the migrating not being playable, but still
They'd honestly
existing.
be easier to represent through the army one.
They could. I think how I would do it is that some of them could be armies, and it would just depend on the culture and the context of where they're at, why they're there, that sort of thing. But some of them would be societies of pops that are basically not meant to be playable, I guess. And then other ones, an army that's just hanging out someplace and is a danger. Huh.
And if you get stack wiped, you lose.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. You like the
Stuck
idea
and
of
wiping.
actually
Your favorite
building based
word.
countries? They could probably some of them could be building based countries as well. Huh.
That wouldn't represent that very well.
Again, it depends on the context. But by default, they would either be armies or societies of pops. But then you could have some that either became building based countries. Yeah, based
So,
on context.
building-based countries, from what I can tell here, are corporations.
Yeah.
I don't see a culture group of migrants turning into a corporation.
Creating one is more of what I mean. Not that that would take away from their primary existence. Do you like the idea of building based nations? Mage Tower faction, please. Didn't even think of that. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Perfect example. This whole building based country concept here is prime. I need to get people. I need to get world building thoughts going on because Anbanar has they've got their adventurers and mages that are like two unique estates. I've got to come up with something that is it's our own mod's unique estate type or like the just type of people, and there could be a building there could be some building based countries that are focused around that, but I don't know what it would be.
Now, we don't have to do things just because Ambinar does things.
No, but if anything, it's more a case of do something different is what I'm saying. The idea of having mages, I totally would want to have societies of mages going around building schools and shit. That sounds fantastic.
That was my thought. Like, have multiple different elven academies competing.
Exactly, yeah. In your Eastern Elven place, you've got those
Yeah, exactly.
different. You can have your different families that are like, yeah, this is our school. Do you want to go to our school? We built, we have the best.
Or
We have the best education. And
nobody educates like we do.
there's your unique interaction right there. Send your kid to the school. Go interact with that country. Send them to that school that you prefer. You can have unique flavor based around that.
Character traits do exist.
Mm-hmm. Maybe give characters different traits depending on that. There's lots of interesting stuff you can do with that. I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to do some brainstorming on what unique types of what is a society that can exist. Yeah, that sort of thing. That is just building based. Something that
Also,
uniquely fits the setting.
remember how you talked about Big Tree?
Big tree.
Big Tree is a
Oh!
building-based country that builds littler trees around.
And she has vassals. She has
Mhm.
vassals that are landed country.
Easy.
Oh!
She has a primary building that is Big Tree, and builds a bunch of little trees everywhere.
Oh my gosh! You're right! This is perfect. Oh, she could build trees. She builds more of her little pink trees and shit in other people's lands. And they need to cut them down and get rid of the trees. Yes! Oh, and then she will spread. She will spread to other continents eventually. Yes, that is some fantastic gameplay concept right there. Unfortunately, she's very far out of the scope.
Yeah, she's not gonna be at it for a while.
She'd be a long ways away. But hey, I can so what can be done here is I can have a bit remember I talk about Mr. Waterbridge, the dude who's gonna go and colonize as an Exodus nation early. He could be a building based country at the start, and you could play him and do shenanigans like quest line related stuff as a building based country to get ready to go on your expedition.
I hate to suggest it, but I think he might, at least when he arrives, would also work better as an army-based country to represent his expedition.
That's true. Depends on how many, like where the stage is. Yeah, because then he could have land too, and have an army.
Mhm.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Only what Timur's going to be.
Timur, you're right. Because Timur shows up later. He's like a 1-year-old right now.
10-year-old baby at game starts, so
Yeah.
it's going to be an event to spawn him with an army because he doesn't start with land, but then he can conquer.
Yes. All right. It's coming together. Listen. Don't matter. It don't matter if the societies of pops aren't playable at the start. It just means that I can cook on stuff for them later. It's fine. But building based countries, this is also the daimyos are this is so good.
You also have the Jackalope steppe hordes.
Yes, of course, Jackalope
using
steppe
armies.
Yep, Jackalope steppe horde armies of the little pygmy guys. They're gonna come for you. They're gonna come for you, Rector. They're gonna be at the gates. Trading companies, Hanseatic League, banking countries.
Mm-hmm.
You play as a. What? Can you have an army as these countries?
Yep, hire mercs.
Of course. And the pops belong to you.
You can't levy. I don't think
Yeah.
you can levy troops or build troops. You just hire mercs.
The holy orders too. Like you play as
They
a holy
might be
order.
different.
Yeah.
I don't know about them. I imagine you could probably have a professional retinue of some sort, but
Yeah.
you can't raise levies.
Because you make buildings, so you probably create like buildings that give you men, or somehow recruit. It's kind of vague how recruiting units work. They haven't explicitly shown the UI for it. We know it's something you do, but we don't like, I don't know. Maybe for a holy order you can just have a nebulous menu off to the side that recruits them, or maybe you build stuff that they're in. But yeah, Hanseatic League, they've got their subjects, and they will have mercenaries. Mercenaries aren't a type of country, mercifully. But I imagine you can hire the holy orders. And through events, I guess, yeah. I mean, the Teutonic Order's already landed. That's different, yeah. They don't have any unlanded holy orders in them either. You can see a little bit of a name popping up here. So I want to know more. Oh, this whole thing here. One thing I know for sure is that I want to absolutely cook the shit out of this stuff. This is some I want to have a mod that like uses this system and has it as a big selling point. This has got to be like that. That is like one of the big things that can make someone's mod unique. Is really taking advantage of this. I'm sure of it. Oh, what? What do you? Oh, there's so many possibilities. All right, let me get back to actually reading some stuff. A lot of different colors in Castile and Aragon. I do imagine that. See the blue one. I mean, listen.
One of them, I think, is the papacy. So I wonder if the papal states and the actual like separate
No.
nations.
No, that can't be the Pope. Because this blue, that's not in Avignon.
But it would allow the Pope to survive. I'm pretty sure that's about Avignon.
I think Avignon's the one north of it.
Because it would allow the. Yeah, it's possible, but what I'm thinking is it would allow the Pope to survive a conquest.
Mm-hmm.
If he's not an actual territorial based, and it would also let you do something like the Treaty of Rome, where the Pope still owns like Vatican City, but you own the location of Rome.
It's true. Very true. I think you might be right, actually. But then that wouldn't explain why the Pope should own land in the Papal State, but he doesn't.
Yeah,
If that's the
I'm
case.
not 100% sold on the explanation, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Avignon that's in blue, but I'm not sure what's going on there. I believe from the comments, the various ones in Iberia are various holy orders
Yeah,
that exist at this date.
pink one definitely is.
Yeah, the holy site there in CK3.
I forget what the holy order is called, but that definitely is one. I know that there's a famous holy order from Galicia.
The Knights of Caltrava, I believe.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yep. However, there is a little tan colored shitter that's poking all. I say shitter. They're the second largest of these factions. They're in a lot of places. They're in Italy. They're in two different parts of Provence. They're in Majorca, and they're in Constantinople. So that's probably a banking family. Probably a very strong one at that. Now I wouldn't be surprised if the blue one is as well. In fact, that's still what I'm leaning towards. One in Portugal too. Knights Templar. I didn't. I mean, they're not. There is no color in Portugal right now, but Huh. I completely forgot that the Hansa owned land in Novgorod. I didn't remember that. I thought that they were just the main competitors of each other. I didn't know that they actually owned land there though. That's not in Portugal. That's next to it. That green color there. That's next to Portugal. It's right up against the border.
What he's talking about is it's cut off from the map, but it's talked about in some of the comments. There's also one in Portugal.
Oh, there is?
The Knights Templar, yeah, at the very south of Portugal,
is that
but
what
it's
that...
not on the map.
Yeah, in like Algarve, there's a little bit of silvery blue at the bottom there. Okay, okay, but yeah, okay. Thank you, Gimalt. Huh. But yeah, you research tech as well. Yeah. This is very interesting, for sure.
You just research more advanced ways of crusading as a crusader state,
I suppose
as
so.
a holy order.
Now, I can only hope that if they do the okay, if they can't have societies of pops playable at Game Start, if they can't manage that, then what I hope they'll do is make some of the North American Plains natives army countries. That
Yeah,
I would
I could
be,
see that.
yeah. Please, please, devs, please give me my Blackfoot. Please give me my Kyanai as as an army country. I must. It still shocks me, by the way, just thinking about it, the fact that if you played in the New World, as soon as the next age ticks over, you can theoretically start researching next age tech, just none of the stuff that's unlocked by institutions. But you can keep going down the tech tree, and it makes stuff from previous eras cheaper. It's like that is interesting stuff. But yeah, the loan capacity 50%, and then take over loans. Take over loan. Yeah, so when someone's in debt, you just force them to pay you instead of the estate, and theoretically you charge more interest then, because I think the estates are better. I think the whole point is that the estates have better deals. The one in Galicia is Santiago. Hmm. Well, I also recognize that name, but there are a lot of different ones. Shockingly enough, Spain is full of knightly orders at this point in time, and will continue to be for quite some while. Any thoughts on these types of landless states in the East? Don't have any ideas. Vector, you probably be the one with the
Yes.
most. Like, Gamal's asking any thoughts on, like, what types of landless states would be like in China?
Um, mm, Nothing is immediately coming to mind. I mean, there's stuff like the monks in Japan. These Buddhist temples that have became so autonomous that they were essentially like a nation state in the Sengoku Jidai. I don't know if Japan ever had that sort of level of Buddhist autonomy.
Well, they
There's
do,
religious organizations.
but they have the daimyo. The daimyos are building based countries, so
Yes, I know. I was talking. I was using the Iki as an example of like a religious order I could see in the East,
mhm.
for a landless state, because the daimyo are an obvious one.
Yeah.
Um, so I was going for basically what's outside that. Um, I suppose you could potentially use it for like, but they already said how the red turbans are going to work, and that's an entire situation that the one have to deal with.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm
Hmm.
not quite sure. It'll be really interesting to see what they choose to do. I suppose they could do things if they end up implementing that naval-based one. The pirates in China. There was the pirate confederacy in the early
Yeah.
1800s in China that fielded like 5,000 war junks or something like that.
I
Um,
I imagine that eventually you will have like banking countries and other such things showing up in places like Asia. But maybe there's just something,
mhm.
maybe it's an institution that they don't have at game start that doesn't cause them to appear, you know? There might be, because I bet surely they spontaneously generate some of these things, you know? I doubt that it's a case of like you can just get rid of them and they're all gone forever, you know? Like I'm sure that more banking families will pop up if you get rid of some. So my thoughts is that maybe there's, because I don't think that banking is banking an institution. Because it's like feudalism, code of laws, and meritocracy, I think, are the age of traditions ones. So, no, because China has all the institutions at GameStar. China has more institutions than Europe does at the beginning. I don't know. I certainly hope that stuff like that will pop up in the East as well. It just, yeah. If not, oh well, I suppose. Hmm. This society of pops thing is going to be a big thorn in my side. It's like, oh boy, it's like they want to actually make that playable. It's like they're doing an actually interesting and nuanced take on the Victoria 3 decentralized nations thing. That's so fantastic. The idea that they're taking that, it's the logical end point, of that whole we want to actually be in country. There's people here. We want to make it feel more representative. And it's like, the natural end point of that is you can colonize anything if you've got the right amount of power projection, and that they'll be able to. Oh, stream drop. I think stream dropped for a second there.
It's back.
Yeah,
it's back now though.
But yeah, the natural endpoint to think that you can play even as these places that are meant to be colonized. Yeah. Think bank nations will mainly be mainly event based, as in playing them, or do you mean them coming to existence? Because I mean, as for the gameplay, I mean, yeah, sure, events, but I mean, the gameplay is going to be building shit. Oh yeah, spawning them. I really hope that there's going to be random events that can spawn them. Uh, because I mean, yeah, sure, this is the era when the holy orders are dying out, but it's like the banks are just getting started. So I hope we'll get more of those, and we'll learn more about how the trade companies are going to work later, which apparently you can choose to create the trade companies, and then there's the question of, okay, so you create the trade company, that's a building-based country, but theoretically they're going to be able, you're going to be able to give them land somehow, because like the Raj, British Raj, was the company getting given land. So how do I turn all of my colonies into trade companies? Yes, the Hudson's Bay Company shall rise again and rule all. Yes. One of the Hudson's Bay Company is so fucking annoying to play in, Vic. They made the prairie so ass. Well, I guess I'll read some of the. Just, yeah, I'll start reading the comments. Yeah. How will this function with modding? Can someone just make an Assassin's Creed type of entity? The different types are not moddable, as it's in the deepest part of the code. The deepest, most secretive, most hard-coded part of the code. Yes, yeah, I'm not forgetting the comments. Yep. As you see, I'm on my way through the dev responses. We need to see him talk about Timur, yes. Society of Pop should really be renamed to Stateless Society. I don't know, man.
Technically speaking, multiple of those have no states. The banking countries don't have a state; they're banks.
Yeah, that's a I think that the Society of Pops is the best way to describe it, because it's a society of people. It's not like it's not a nation. It's a society of people. They're just people that exist. They don't necessarily have much organization, but they can work towards that. I also believe they should be visible on the map, similar to Vicky 3's decentralized countries, just the border with the name. No, because they overlap. Yeah, I definitely think it's best to have it be as a and they're not countries that are like impacting the world stage. The things that they influence are very minor, and I think that it's best to have it representative of. You can flip on a map mode and it will show you them, but unless you're actively looking for them, just like the colonizers who are taking over said land, you just ain't gonna see them unless you're actually parsing through the lines. Not easy to do when they overlap with each other and themselves. You could have a dozen in the same location. Yeah, that's very true. It's very true because they're just the pops. It literally is just the pops. So if a place gets colonized, the tribal pops that have not been assimilated and not forcibly taken out of that society are still going to be part of it. You can have that society just existing completely within some other society as a bunch of tribal pops, I guess. 10,000 BCE confirmed all the world's societies of pops. Yes. Oh,
The most
wonderful.
boring mod imaginable.
That would be fantastic. Wait, they're totally going to make societies of pops the most interesting thing to play imaginable. I really hope they make it actually playable and that they do it right. I don't want them to make them playable if they're not making it done right. I get that though. They're saying, they're right now they don't have the gameplay in the spot they'd want it to be, so they don't want to make it playable until they get it right. And you know what? That's fine. That is fine and good. If I can't have all of the Native Americans be playable yet, I'll just suffer through it when they add them. Epic DLC time, and it's like, oh my gosh, Native Americans are playable now. I can't wait to run around as the Sami in Sweden, for example. Can you simply destroy the building of an extraterritorial country in your extraterritorial? Which one was that? Is that the? That's not building because there's extra. Is extraterritorial the? Oh,
That's the
that's the
name for
buildings.
those are the building-based
Yeah.
countries.
Settled army buildings, society of pops. Yeah, and the army-based countries. If the country does not have an army at all, it can shatter into multiple pieces. That's an interesting one. That it can shatter into multiple pieces. I think that I'm probably going to want to make a lot of use of this when it comes to modding. That is very interesting. As long as they have an army, then the country will still continue to exist. What I want to know is, all right, you've got your army, but you have no land. You have an army but no land. Okay. What is your army your pops? Like how if you conquer something, no, well, you can't reinforce your armies then, I guess. Probably. I don't know. There's just I need more. I need more.
Speculate more. That's what you need. Just more speculation.
Okay. No, I guess it's just okay. Army-based countries, the ABCs, if they've got no land. If they lose all their land, then they won't reinforce their armies anymore. But they can and if they conquer land, then they can settle their pops in that land. Maybe because their army is made up of their own pops, and they If forcibly move people?
They
No.
did say it would be possible for army-based countries to settle.
They did say that, yeah. Yeah, they did say that. Hmm. Hope this system becomes the standard for future Paradox games, and it will be for those that they make it Tinto at least. Ooh, boy. Woo! Ah, heart eyes. Hope there's some kind of formal navy based country. At least if there's nothing at the start of the game, though, to the category, would a pirate nation fit the description? It's a player fantasy, so okay, yeah. If they did a navy-based country thing at all, it would be basically specifically for players to go around doing pirate stuff. Yeah, layers of nations. So you could have literally, you could have multiple of every type of country in the same tile, except only one settled country at a time in the same tile. Because you can have a settled country owns the tile. You then have as many army-based countries as you want sitting in the tile. Then you can have, again, a shit ton of different societies of pops that own certain amounts of the pops in that tile. And then again, you can have untold numbers of building-based nations building stuff. Just owning different amounts of buildings in that tile. Why can't I turn my banking family into a settled country? Not easy, and most likely a really bad decision to try to go from a few hundred bankers to taking over an entire location. But what if I want to? But what if I want to take over a country as bankers? The Medici did it. Hmm? Laugh. Uh, stay around as part of their society. What happens to the pops that are owned by the society? Yeah. The Teutons own land, and Calatrava is a building-based one. Peace in Project Caesar will be similar to EU4, Imperator, and Vicky 2. So that makes a lot of people happy, I'm sure. My preferred kind of peace deals. So hmm. Be an effect to change the countries. Yeah, be simple enough for modders to just make a country change its type. Yeah. But yeah, I can understand why Johan would doubt number three here, where someone's asking if you could make if modders could make societies of pops playable if they aren't in vanilla. Because if he hasn't found a way yet, then yeah, I mean he's the guy that's been making his games for a living for a long while now. Ah. It's strictly hard coded. You can't change the types. You can't make new types of countries. Um, Army-based countries, ABCs, that are steppe nomads have a way to become location-based monarchies. Yes, good, good. Hmm. Oh my god. This person be like, is it possible for countries that are too small to become location-based countries like Monaco and San Marino to be extraterritorial ones? Ah, yes. Ah, yes.
People are just not going to give up on San Marino.
They won't. Come on, guys. Come on. Uh, yeah, they haven't yet come up with a way to make the yeah, societies of pops showing up on your standard political map mode look decent. Oh. Hmm. Some countries have unique things related to banking. Would it be possible to create a new banking country slash vassal from your own territory? Not for banks at the moment. Some countries have unique things related to them. Huh. So you can't actively create a new banking country. But there's got to be ways that they appear later on. It can't be that the couple that exist at Game Start are just all. It's like, well, here's an event that makes the Medicis appear. They got normal diplomacy. Society of Pops can't own location. Those tags are probably highly dependent on events and characters rather than buildings. I think they need a lot of events. Do they have diplomacy? Can they ally with other people? Can they federate? The Canadian Four. So you. Okay, so societies of pops have normal diplomacy. That's interesting. They don't have buildings, and they have typically really bad advances. But they do in fact have diplomacy with just everyone else. They can do that. So you can ally them, which is very interesting and surprising. Not the yawning. But yes, you're right. Yes, if Monaco was a building-based country, they'd need to add all of the tiny, itty-bitty, even smaller HRE countries. Oh my god. I don't know. I doubt that. Surely there can't be that many more things that they would add. Surely they basically got all of the historical HRE countries in now. They've even got the monasteries. The monasteries who have the unique distinction of their position in the hierarchy just being ass, where all of them collectively have one vote. Yay! And by one vote, I mean one vote in the Diet, not one vote in electorship. They're gonna talk more about hordes later. Yeah, of course. People asking about how hordes work. Yeah. There are some benefits to having a bank's main office being in your country. Okay. That's nice to know. Hmm. Continuing along. And yeah, building-based countries can never own locations directly. Hmm. Teutonic Knights. What? The Teutonic Knights had both lands in Prussia and Pomerania, besides having a big network of castles in the German lands in the HRE. Will this mean that they will have a combination of both, or will one branch be a vassal of the other? So the Teutonic Order somehow has buildings that it owns in someone else's country? Huh? Okay. Well, that's interesting. Teutonic Order actually is a landed country that owns buildings in someone else's land. This is some Victoria 3 ass stuff now. They are talking about you're right. They are talking about making buildings in other nations next week. Hmm. That does make sense, yeah. Huh. I just didn't think, Rask, that I thought that was just going to be relevant for the extraterritorial countries. And it was like, oh, we're just going to learn more about how their gameplay loop works. But no, no, it works for other people too. Huh. Someone might own all of my precious sand mines. Mm, unforgivable. Must nationalize the sand mines. Um, not call the states that created the biggest empires on the earth. Hmm. Societies of pops are the people that are closer to Stone Age tech. Rest in peace, North American Plains natives. Rest in peace. That definitely makes it sound like they are all gonna be. I mean, maybe the Iroquois would be an army-based country, but probably not. Probably not. Because they were becoming organized, but that's probably in their mind like, oh yeah, the Iroquois are they've got more advances. They're on their way to becoming a settled country. But
I think the Iroquois would probably be represented as a conventional landed country.
I don't buy it. I'd love it for that to be the case, but I don't think they're gonna do that. Campaign idea: play as a company and control every sand resource. You're goddamn right, Armas. We need all the sand.
The sand must flow.
The sand must flow. um. Hmm. I wonder what your end. You can okay. You can have vassals as one of those countries is the thing. So that's just so weird. Can you? You can't colonize then, but like your vassal could colonize, I guess. Uh, how would you? How do you make someone your vassal? Can you attack them? Do you buy them? I don't know. Hmm. You're breaking my brain here, Gamalt. Now, what the heck? The HRE had hundreds of mini villages that were given to imperial knights to administer without any allegiance to a larger state, at least in theory. And at its peak, the HRE had some 1.8 thousand territories. Ah, ah, ah. The Holy Order map in Iberia is quite inaccurate. Yes, yes, work in progress. Feature, yes. Prediction: Timur will start as an ABC, which spawns sometimes after 1370, and the nearby human players will get the option to play as him if they meet certain conditions. And Johan just straight up responds with, "You need to start as Chagatai." So there you go, I guess. You start as Chagatai, and in roughly 1370, uh, the big lame boy is gonna rock up, and you can just choose to play as him. That's neat. This is big heart eyes. Sadly, no day one campaign. No day one campaign as Timur the Lame, unfortunately. My day one campaign is the Hansa, obviously. Uh, I mean, who else would it be? I mean, maybe I'd try banking country. Banking country could be neat. I gotta get my grubby little mitts all over Portugal as they're colonizing. Gotta set up new banking offices in the new world. Get there ahead of the game. Yeah. Pirates would be navy-based country. So yeah, Portugal, the Order of Christ. Yeah. So yeah, they're in the south. Okay. Can a banking country similarly raise an army and forcefully collect their debts? They can do so with hiring mercs, I guess. Yeah. Wage war vassalized countries. Yeah, I mean the distinction. Yeah, yeah. They because the banking countries are just a different type of. They're a sort of extraterritorial country. So yeah, I guess a banking country can just see a weaker country and just be like, yeah, I'm gonna just attack you and vassalize you now. So an extraterritorial countries can wage war, vassalize countries, have armies, levies and standing, create navies, tax, have alliances, etc. I don't know. Okay, it's gonna be so hard for me to not just want to play a knightly order then. Like, oh, the idea you can have like the multiplayer game potential with this stuff too, man. Like someone wanting to play a knightly order, and you can if you play a co-op game as some Iberian power, and then someone's playing co-op with you as a knightly order, and just fund the knightly order to just keep making buildings in places. What's the gameplay loop like for bankers? Accumulate ducats, manage loans, and Diplo? Is there some vanity project we could spend it on, like palaces? The gameplay loop is green numbers go up. You must construct additional banking houses. Is there a society of pops in Western Africa? Lots and lots. Yeah, I'm sure. I am very sure that, and you can ally those people. They have Diplo. Huh. Hmm. Cesare Borgia as an army-based country. Yes. Yes. Yes, army-based Cesare Borgia incoming. Please give. Please give. Trading companies like the VOC be army-based countries, building-based countries, or land-based countries. Building-based. So the East India Company won't be land, won't own land. Huh. Okay. Fair enough. Hmm. You, since they're all countries, You can vassalize banks and holy orders. Yes. Oh, I can't wait to subjugate somehow. I cannot wait to somehow subjugate a bank. What? Ah, that's great. Hmm. An army-based country, of course, can start a war against a landed one, yes. And from now on, they'll be showing the societies of pops wherever they are, and you retroactively show the ones that already existing areas. Nice, nice. So that means you'll show the Beowulf in Newfoundland, I'm sure, because they showed a tiny bit of Newfoundland, obviously. Hmm. Building-based holy orders are playable. How the heck do you play that? What are you doing? What are you doing as them? And you can never become landed unless there's an event that causes it. It's like, what the heck? A PU with a no. Yeah. PU with a no land nation. So the that's like the Medici banking family, I guess, yeah? It's like Rasak, that's probably referring to like how the Medici's take over, like you have Cosimo de' Medici in charge of Florence. So he is a personal union then between the Medici and Florence. So Florence still exists. It depends on who you're playing then. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Because like if you're playing as Florence, you're still playing as Florence. You just have a PU with the Medici Bank. And if you're playing as the Medici Bank, then well, great. You have a PU with Florence. For what that's worth, I don't know. I guess that makes you more money. What's preventing other nations where you are to just decide, okay, I don't want you anymore, die? Are your tools limited to, but look what I can give you, or can you hurt them somehow? A bit the same countries such as the Hansa, how are they able to keep their subjects if they just decide to become independent? Gold for mercs are pretty damn useful, and having more than one branch is good to not rely on a single country. And that makes sense, yeah. Just make buildings all in various countries in case someone gets mad at you and decides to try and yoink your stuff. ABCs do not need to own locations. Yeah. As long as they have an army, they can migrate and shit. They just need their army to survive, but with no land, no manpower, or tax for it. Huh. Hmm. Just need their army to survive. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess you wouldn't have any of your population anymore. So you go off and conquer something else, I get. I wonder if you have any, like, at all. Like, what can you do if you've got no land and you're just an army, if anything, other than just attack someone? What? So the Knights Hospitaller are a normal landed country. The Hospitaller are a normal landed country. Um, but they're a normal landed country with X and Y. Oh boy!
I love X and Y.
They're my favorite. Actually, you know what? Screw that. I'm going to change it to
They're
helpful.
secret ingredients.
Yeah, I'm going to swap it to my helpful reaction. Yes, very, very helpful. Thank you for explaining. Yes. Mandatory question: will Prussia be an APC? Yeah, okay. Okay. Well, you can't convert or assimilate them through normal means. Are there modifiers for the culture and religious conversion rates of a pop of a society of pops? They're harder. Are they harder to convert as they already belong to a political entity? You cannot convert or assimilate them through normal means. Hmm. And yes, the army-based nation does in fact just seem like a yeah, they're basically just a normal nation that to be honest, sounds like it's just a drawback to me. Because they've got their benefit and the downside. The benefit is that they don't need land to survive. They can come back if they've just got an army somehow. But the drawback is if they lose that army, they're gonna shatter, which is like, oh god. So if you lose your army as a horde, your all your land is gonna break up into pieces, and you'll be stuck as one of
Yep,
those splinters.
all the
I mean,
little hordes are going to break free.
it's the simple question of just don't die. Just
Just
don't lose.
don't get stack wiped, dude. Dude, you can't lose those. You just can't. You do it, you die.
Stay winning and you won't have to worry about losing.
Mm-hmm. 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 The I like this that you can't convert and assimilate the through normal means the pops that are part of a society of pops. You have to forcibly change their allegiance or some other means, as they say. Horse archers are going to be OP in this game for
Too
the
bad
first
most
while.
people that have horse archers are surrounded by other people with horse archers.
This is also true. But and dark because we're gonna have armies of gecko bat people running around in the
Exactly.
caves. They just
It's
don't
gonna be
lose
great.
either because they don't have horse
They
archers. They just fly at you in the
they
caves.
stay winning.
They
They stay winning.
stay winning, and if they don't stay winning, then they break into pieces and have to pull themselves back together. That's just how it be. Rest in
Of course.
peace. Oh God. Yeah. Hmm. This is gonna be great. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to. Oh, yeah, I've definitely got lots of ideas for when there should be. In my own setting, I'd want to put. Ah, yeah, in this mod we're gonna make, we're gonna have the yeah factions that are societies of pops that are just entirely in other people's countries, and that means you can't assimilate them. So that you're just stuck dealing with them until you forcibly, through conflict, I guess, change their loyalty. So that means you can have these just tribal, or maybe not even tribal, people just in your country that you can't do anything about unless you attack this large group that's just hanging out there. It's like, well, shit. What do I do? Or you could ally them too, because they got their own diplomacy. Good shit. That is good shit. Hmm. All right. Well, I'll go bring us just to the normal Tinto Talks page and see if there's anything else worth mentioning. I kind of doubt it, but is what it is. You gotta check anyway. Please don't bring back the EU4 peace deal system. Nah, nah, no devs have responded to stuff lately.
Yeah, I haven't been saying much. Federal government says playable
No, no, no.
landless ag.
Ignore. Don't. Ignore that. Ignore that. Devs don't respond to people's posts anymore. You say? Well. It's literally only. It is literally only in the actual developer threads that they've responded to stuff lately. Responded to North Atlantic. Oh well. I suppose that is that for this one. Yeah, I think
So on the whole, massive thumbs up, massive thumbs down. Thoughts on Landless?
I think it's a big thumbs up, of course,
Was
personally.
expecting and exactly what I was wanting.
It's
Agreed.
yeah,
Respectfully agree.
I don't think there's the only thing that I could have asked for that would have been possibly better in regards to this was the to have day one playable societies of pops, and even that's not confirmed to not be true. We'll just have to see. So yeah, this is going to be fantastic for modding stuff. Very interesting for playing as like different styles of play, different kinds of countries to interact with. The fact, quite simply, the fact that they consider these building-based countries robust enough that they will. It's a core just gameplay thing. You can just can play as them, even though they only are just based on buildings.
Yeah, they can't turn into landless. That means they have to have some sort of core gameplay loop of their own.
The fact that that is so that it's robust enough that they think it's worth, yeah, to let people play as opposed to the societies of pops. That's a really really good sign for the gameplay for me, and just thinking how this game I'm really hopeful about EU5 being able to keep people's attention for longer after you start to get strong, and for you to have more things to do besides war, and just in general make you want to play the game more stuff to do than just get Miltech up, hit people with stick, disinherit heirs because they don't have good monarch points. Building-based nations can be themed around nearly any kind of organization or group. Indeed. Indeed. So you bet your ass I'm going to be spending a lot of time now brainstorming ways I can make up my own kind. I need to make up my own kinds of building-based nations. Got one already.
Time to spread the trees.
Time to spread the trees. That's the one kind. That's one is literally tree god lady planting more trees. Two, you got like magic. You got mage societies, setting up schools and such. Because then they also need to the mage societies. They want to try and get access to the prismite shit, which is going to be the divine essence, important magic ore stuff.
Or
so you have
collect rocks.
Collect rocks. You'll have you'll have societies of vectors like gooftastic Eastern elf magic people. They'll have like schools of mages that are like funding dwarven mines in the dwarven countries because they're like,
Yeah,
we need more of this stuff, guys.
yeah, we need more of the magic ore.
We need more of the magic ore, you guys. We'll fund you. We own this mine now.
The other thing I thought was that like dwarven guilds, in like the Elven Empire.
Yeah, because we were just talking about that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you can have those dwarven things, and then you've got like, because we're talking about the shifters they're hanging out in, if the shifters hang out in elf lands as either societies of pops that are like tribal pops that you need to try and like wrangle, or army based countries that are just wide walking around the elf lands.
Mm-hmm.
Crafting
We
enclaves.
need a Dwarven Hanseatic League, Joffrey.
Yes, Dwarf Hanseatic League. I gotta do that. Yeah, because you can make so many. You can make different types of international organizations. So I could make an international organization that is just like the Dwarf HRE in the East, and inside it could be the Dwarf Hanseatic League that like owns like has vassals and owns buildings all over, and they're like competing with the elves who are like, there's the elven schools who are trying to own, they're trying to own mines and workshops, but then the dwarf guilds are like, no, we need to keep this for the dwarves, dwarf owned, and then they fight. Yes, it's all coming together. Definitely would need to. You can have like, yeah, all sorts of guilds, because a fantasy setting, everything is yeah, like as Rasak is saying, yeah, like crafting enclaves. That's a great like, yeah. You need just all that high fantasy. Like, what is a group of fantasy people gonna do? Ah, yes, the yes, the dwarven crafting guilds enclaves all over the place. Um, don't quite agree with daimyos being building based nations yet. I think, in all honesty, it's best that they try something different, because it's been the same way in strategy games forever. It's just all the daimyos exist in their countries, and they throw hands uh, until one of them unites the country, guys. Whoa! But this is way before the Sengoku Jidai, I think. Pretty sure that's a long time from now. Yeah, that's like a century away. So you wouldn't want the daimyo just fighting right at the start of the game anyway. Uh, so I think it fits the game better this way. Though I think there is a war in Japan at the moment. Just a different nature. Hmm. Well, I think that we can probably be wrapping this up here then. I'll plug at the end, of course, if you anyone who likes, there's a link down below to the Discord server. Uh, come by, chat with us. We're nerding out about whenever there's new EU5 stuff to be talked about. Plans for our own mod and all that sort of thing. If anyone wants to stop by and talk, yes. But with that, I'll be ending this stream here. So I thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.